Hey there, I'm Scott Silverbell, and you've probably come up with this question once, twice, or maybe 20 times in your in-home service business. What do we do for leads when it gets slow? I have to let you know this is a common question that happens in all sorts of different in-home services when it comes to roofing, electricians, heating and air, plumbers, pest control. Everybody wants to know, what do I do to get high quality leads? So what I've done for you is I put together a playlist of different action items that you could take based upon department so that in the future, it's something you don't necessarily have to worry about. You still have to put in the work. You do. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the effort. So what I'm going to do from here is I am going to share my screen and I'm going to make it really easy for you to know what actions that you could take when it comes to making sure that you have all the capabilities you need to run your business, to get some deals, to close some sales, right? So what to do when it's slow, your new playbook. Welcome. So my name is Scott Silverbell. My background is I helped a $10 million a year company grow to a $50 million a year company as a communications director, which means I got to work in every department. I worked with plumbers, electricians. I worked with heating and air techs. I worked with salespeople. I worked with office staff. I worked with human resources. And my role and responsibility was to help grow the company. And so this came from processes and procedures. This came from making sure that everything was organized in a manner and fashion that made it available for the company to grow. And so for me, I've worked with entrepreneurs and top business owners for the last couple of years. As a trainer, I've written 5 books with about 500,000 words on how to be a heating air steam technician, roofer, electrician, or even plumber. And as of today, I've got 3,000 YouTube videos. You know, as a group, we do have other trainings available. We do want to help you grow, to help your business be successful and launch into the stratosphere. Now, for you, it's important to know that you have to have a playbook. You have to have a way for your organization to get to where it needs to be. It's easier when you have a list of actions you can choose from. Because if I ask you a giant question like, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? Your brain's like, well, what do I want? Do I want Chinese food? Do I want a burger? Do I want a steak? You know, and it's too big. But when you have a listed guide of like, these are the actions that I can take, your life becomes easier. You still got to put in the work. You're going to hear me say that a lot. You have more options than a stale promotion. Yep, promotions get stale. It becomes a me also race to the bottom. So here's what's going to happen. The reason you want a playbook is once you hit the jackpot and once you find success for an ad that you're running, then what's going to happen is you are going to get copied. Here's the other thing. You can keep your team busy and you can adjust quickly. You can adjust quickly. And your benefit of running an organization, running a marketing team is going to happen with how fast you can adjust. It's going to happen with the internal team that you have and the playbook that you're pulling from, right? Like you could watch football, any team, when the clock is ticking, like they know that one side's trying to eat the clock up and the other side's trying to push through plays as fast as they can. And under pressure, they practice this. And I would encourage you to think through, like, what stages could we use? What plays could we play in the middle of summer when there's no heat? What plays could we use in the middle of winter when it's so cold? And because it's going to happen. It doesn't matter where you live in the country. At some point, the leads are just going to dry up and you can't rely on the weather. You got to rely on marketing promotions to make things happen. It's the way that it is. Got to have a game plan. Mention that you gotta work off of a game plan. So here, take this playbook builder and design your offers. Here, you can do a couple of hours a week, a couple hours a month, and come up with the ultimate guide. But here's the thing. It's really easy to get shiny object syndrome. So what I want you to do is pick one item. Now, here is the criteria that you're going to use. What's the thing that's going to give you the most amount of lift with the least amount of risk? You want risk down here, you want lift up here. And so, you know, it's not about spending money, right? You don't have to necessarily spend money. You can get people on your team to take action. You can get people to do some work for you. And there is a saying in business that money follows speed. Money follows speed, okay? And that means that it's your role and responsibility to take some sort of action, right? We don't learn from looking, we learn from doing. And so you have to take action. Now, there's a couple of tools that you have to your advantage, right? You could literally create your own swipe file. And a swipe file is this. Copywriting says that if I look at previous ads from different industries and different services, I can take their outline and use that gist of the copy. I'm not copying it for the sake of copy. I'm taking it and I'm saying, oh, this is the interesting type of headline. So I'm going to take a similar headline and modify it. And I'm going to say, oh, they used an interesting subhead. I'm going to take that subhead and I'm going to modify it and I'm going to make it my own. I'm not going to rip it off and use it exactly. And then I'm going to take the body, the deck copy, the first 500 words, and I'm going to change it. I'm going to make it my own, right? So you're not, when I say copywriting, I'm not saying, hey, you're going to copy what somebody's doing. You're going to write copy for the sake of marketing. And you could use AI to your advantage. As of today, there's all sorts of fantastic tools. Pick the one that you like, right? Like as with any technology, 80% of it you're going to love, and 20% of it you're going to say, I wish it did something different. That's how it's always going to be. So like when you get caught up in like, well, this one has this feature and this one has a shiny button, you'll get caught up and you'll waste tons of time. Just find one. I think like as of today, it's probably $20 a month, right? $20 a month can get you all sorts of copy, maybe 50. Can get you all sorts of copy written and everything that you need. And you can benefit from AI just doing a lot of the work for you. And you're like, hey, Scott, why would I do that? Like, well, a long time ago, we used to ride in horses and walk everywhere. And then they invented the automobile. So do you want to ride a horse and walk, or do you want to use the car, right? So let's use the analogy to get things done faster. The goal here is implementation, speed, get it done, but don't be sloppy. That's the way that you got to be, right? Implementation, get it done, but don't be sloppy. Occasionally you're going to have some spelling errors. Something's going to be out of place. Sloppy is completely different. Okay. You want quick playbook offers. Over time, you're going to build these out so that at any given day, you have 3, right? Do this with me, 3. You want three offers at any given time that you can roll out. You want good, you want bad, and you want ugly, right? This isn't on the slide. This is what you get for sticking around. You want good, you want bad, you want ugly, right? You've got your good offer, which maybe if you're selling a $10,000 product, $500 off in whatever way you do that. A bad offer may be $1,500. An ugly offer means that things are really bad. The weather's not there. The sales aren't being done. So it would be like a 20 to 25% offer. So like you're going to stage it: good, bad, ugly. And so anytime you create content, you create your offer, it takes just a little bit longer to create a couple more pieces of copy and a couple of ad sets to go good, bad, ugly, as it does to just go good. Because you're already in creativity mode. You're already in creation mode. So like as a team, you're like, okay, what's our good offer for this time of the year? What's our it's not horrible, but it's bad. And then what's the ugly offer, right? You can say that with me, ugly offer. You always want an ugly offer. So you're always having three offers to choose from, because then you're not stuck. They're staged. So it takes away the, I don't know what to do. We're going to take that excuse away from you today. And you want to know what's been tried and proven in the past in your industry. You want to know some of those elements. Now, sometimes you can't use them, and you're going to have to blaze your own trail and do your own work, which is cool too. And then you may see what I have on this list, and you may go, Scott, I like it. I'm going to do a yes and. And if you don't know what a yes and is what they do in improv. So like in improv, like I could say, I'm standing on the moon, and my improv partner can't say, no, you didn't. No, you're not. No, you're not on the moon. They got to go, yes. And you're walking around in snow. And then I got to go, oh, I'm walking around in snow. A yes and in marketing, a yes and in anything that you do is you take what I shared with you and you go, how do I improve it? How do I make it better? How do I make it mine? That is the ultimate yes and for you. And you have full permission. Do a yes and. You're going to love it. It's going to be fantastic. You're going to be like, I am good to go. And then the hard work's been done, right? You just got to fill in some blanks. You got to come up with a couple of ideas. You're going to want to know that this structure is built for you to come up with ideas and put them in the market and test them. Okay, here's what you're going to want to do. You want to look through the list first and pick 1, 2, or 3 items off the list and take out about 30 to 60 minutes to map out the items. Your job, your role and responsibility is to start with small tests and then roll things out. Okay, so you want to test small and win big. You don't want to just spend money for the sake of spending money. Remember, you want high reward, high yield, high reward, low risk, right? That's the name of this exercise. So someone's like, well, I'm going to go print 100,000 flyers. Like, no, don't do that. Print like 500 and see what happens with the 500,000 at the most. Well, Scott, I'm going to go buy $1 million of ad spend. No, don't do that. Spend a couple $100 on ad spend, see if it works. And if it doesn't work, change and modify, right? Test small, win big, see what's working. When you get to the big test, roll it out to the entire team. Have a couple of employees that you do small tests with. Have a couple of employees that you say, hey, here's what I want you to do. You're going to have to change the way that your crew thinks. You're going to have to change the way your organization thinks, right? Old school way, I'm going to run one promo and that's it. One promo. No, here's what's going to do. You're going to do good, bad, and ugly. You're going to take some time and say, hey, look, I'm going to put my efforts in, and my team needs to know that we are a marketing organization, which means that we test. And then here's the thing. You really do need to watch your metrics. You need to watch and say, hey, what are the capabilities of what's going on? Who's making sales? Like, you may have one person on the team that sells better than everybody else. That's a clue. You should replicate what they're doing. If you have everybody on the team and nobody's doing good, you should ask, hey, wait, is it the team or is it the offer? And if it's not the offer and it's the team, then they need help. They need coaching. They need training. Like, where else in your life can you not do coaching and training and get better at what you do? Most people are not naturally talented. I am a naturally talented taco eater, just so you know. It's like one of my only talents on this planet. There you go. I am naturally talented in a few things. Taco eating is one of them. So be aware that as you go through this process, you're going to need to watch your metrics. Important notes. When you're writing copy and you're writing ads, you need a strong, you got to see the cheat sheet. You need to have a strong reason why. You can literally say, the reason why we're doing this is fill in the blank. And it could be truthful. The reason why we're doing this is we've had a slow season and I want to give you our best effort. I spent a lot of time, energy, and effort recruiting a team, and I want to keep them busy. I made promises to them that they were going to have jobs throughout the summer. This is my strong reason why, right? That's reason why marketing. Your story or narrative matters. How you tell your story really does matter to the rest of the people. Most marketers are lazy and they're like, hey, I'm just going to write a couple hundred words. Now, one of my mentors, Dan Kennedy, said ink is cheap. Well, that was back in the day when you had to print stuff on a computer screen. You can scroll as long as you want. You could put 100 pages of copy. So this is a conversation. I'm gonna slow this down here for a second. I'm gonna slow this down for a reason. This conversation comes up in ad writing all the time. So if I have an ad, do I use a short ad or do I use a long ad? Well, a short ad is going to appeal to this much of the population. A long ad is going to appeal to this much, but you don't know where that cross section is going to be. So you can start small and then go, okay, that's good for right now. That's good for today, but I'm going to work on it. I'm going to make it longer. So you never know what's going to get somebody to buy. I've been in sales forever. There's been things that I've rolled out in conversations like, I had no idea that was going to work. I'm going to do it again. You can count on long copy over time to convert better. That's just the way that copywriting is. That's just the way that advertising works. Sure, you could use a picture, a video, and then it gets redirected to a web page, but ink is cheap, okay? So like at the end of the day, your role and responsibility is to give people reason why, information that they should do it, that they should take advantage of an offer that you have, and it should be a superior offer. It should be one of those offers where it makes sense where people are like, that sounds cool, I want to do it, right? But don't be cute. Cute is one of those things that like, it sounds like it's a good idea. It sounds like it's a good idea, but it's probably not, right? It's probably not. Cute is one of those offers that just, it doesn't sell. Like people like responsibility. Sure, there might be somebody on a Wednesday on a full moon that buys a cute offer, but it's not going to appeal to somebody who's direct, as it's a direct offer. And like, here's what we're going to do. Here's the reason why you're going to love it. Here's the bonuses. Here's the benefits. You know, here's everything that we're going to give you. If you sound like the rest of the industry, you're the rest of the industry. It's just the way it is. It's what you need to know. Your role and responsibility is to make sure that you sound a little bit different. Like a me also ad, like everybody in your industry, I can tell you this, runs $500 off. You know, hey, honey, who was that person that had the $500 off at? I don't know. Let me look in the newspaper. Oh, Bob's Heating and Air, Charlie's Heating and Air, Dave's Heating and Air, Ed's Heating and Air, Fred's Heating and Air, George's Heating and Air, Harry's Heating and Air. See, like you could just go through the list and everybody's got the same offer. Chances are pretty good. It doesn't distinguish yourself in the industry. And you should look for past winners. And you're like, Scott, I don't have past winners to look at. I'm gonna introduce you to technology, right? Let's have this real conversation. They have this thing called the internet. And the internet does some really cool things for you. Like you could go to Facebook ads library, Facebook marketing library. You can just Google it, right? Facebook has nothing to do with us, just by the way. But you could go to their ads library and search for industries. And if somebody's been running an ad for a long time, chances are pretty darn good that's a good ad. Okay. And you could take the gist of it. Don't copy it word for word, right? Don't copy and copywriting. Use the gist of it. Use the framework. Use AI to rewrite it. You could do that too. As of today, that's not illegal. If it is illegal in the future, please delete that thought. Right? Use technology to your advantage. Look for the winners. Look to the industry and say, hey, who's doing something 5 states over? Who's doing something 300 miles away? Like in California, where I live in Sacramento, if I go north 300 miles, I'm not even out of the state. If I go south 300 miles, I'm not out of the state. But if I go to some place in the United States, 300 miles over is like 12 states, right? So 300 miles away, what's somebody else doing? And then combine ideas. You can combine ideas. You can take some framework and take some thought and say, hey, what ideas can I combine? Get your team used to tracking and testing. Okay. Get your team used to tracking and testing. Let them know. Hey, just so you know, in the future, we're going to track and we're going to test and we're going to do a ton. This is what we're going to do from here on out. We are going to test offers. We are a marketing machine. First, we are an in-home services company. Second, almost every good company says that. And prepare for it. Punchline to the joke. You, my friend, are going to get ripped off, right? This is why you need to have a whole stable of offers. This is why you need to have a whole category of offers, is because you're going to get ripped off. It's just the way that this world works. Somebody says, oh, that's the offer that you're doing. I wrote an offer in 2015 that just crushed it. And then so every competitor in town saw that offer running and they tried to copy it, but they didn't have the gist of everything that I'm going to share with you in the rest of this content. So they were like, it didn't work for us. We're like, of course it didn't work for you. You didn't do it right, right? You looked at it like this is the whole book, but the ad was just a chapter in the book and everything else was a chapter in the book. And there's more work and effort that goes into it. And I'm going to share those items with you so that you know what to do to make things happen. Get feedback quickly from bookings, technicians, and salespeople, right? Every offer, I want you to understand, this is super important. Every offer attracts a certain type of buyer. Your offer is going to attract a person. And sometimes it's not good. So I'll give you an example. When I was a heating and air conditioning technician, 2008, 2009, if the company I worked with ran a $49 offer, it was not for a tune-up, was not as good as a $59 offer. It was a different type of person. There was a different type of person at a $69 as it was a $79. There was a completely different type of person at $89. So your offer, what you make in your offer really does matter. And if it works, run it. If it doesn't, stop it. Find something else that's new that you could use. So welcome. Here are the playbooks. As you go through this, realize everybody in the company is part of the marketing team. And you're going to need to put some scripts together. And thank goodness we got this thing called technology where you could use AI to write sales scripts for you and modify accordingly. And then once you create those scripts, you're going to want to roll out everything to the entire team. You're going to want to say, my call center knows what they're going to say. My technicians know what they're going to say. My salespeople know what they're going to say. My follow-up teams knows what they're going to say based upon the offers that are out there, right? You want your offer to touch every division in your company. You want everybody in your company to know what the offers are. You want everybody to know, here's how it's being sold. Here's the play. You think of a football team, and I've given this analogy, the entire team knows the play. Everybody on that team knows their role and responsibility. Everybody knows the play that's going to be done. I mean, the people on the field, they know exactly what they're going to do. People on the sidelines are like, oh, we practiced this. I've seen this before. I know which play they're running, okay? Track and adjust. Be willing to pass on poor content that hasn't worked. And you're going to know relatively quickly with technology if it is or isn't working. Now, number 5 on here, I want to share something with you. You got to get really good for asking other people for money. Sounds crazy, right? Why wouldn't you go to a manufacturer and say, hey, why don't you help me with some of this ad spend? I'm going to sell your product. We did this really effectively with air cleaners. We did as air scrubbers. We did this really effectively with water softeners. We did this really effectively with all sorts of different products. If we were going to test a product, somebody else was going to help pay for it, right? Somebody else was going to, like, you want us to sell your product. If somebody came in saying, we've got a new product for you to offer, we'd go, fantastic, let us evaluate it, right? And let us evaluate it. Let's see what we could do with it. And yes, and what you're going to do is, if you want us to sell it, you're going to do some co-op money. You are going to give us some money to help us pay for what needs to be done. And we'll figure something out on the back end to make this work. You can do that, right? And you're like, well, I'm a small company. Hey, small companies all started somewhere. That's okay. You got to just think. Who can I ask for money? Who's willing to pay for this? So training and skills. Who's at top and what are they doing? If you got 5 people in your call center and one person's really good at booking calls, find out why. If you got 10 salespeople and one of them is really good on closing one type of lead, find out why and get them to train on it. If you got one person who's really good at follow-up, find out why and train on it. See what you could do to copy them. You could always hire a sales trainer in this industry, whatever industry you're in: roofing, electrician, plumbing, heating and air, landscaping, pest control. There's always somebody who's willing to come train. Right? There's always somebody who's willing to say, like, call me, we'll do some training. Okay. There's always learning management content. So as a general rule, any training that you do inside of your organization really should be videotaped. I've got phones here, like this phone, Samsung A53. I record all my trainings on a Samsung A53 phone. It's just as good as my $3,000 recording camera. And if it's in my pocket, and there's like no reason, like, well, I don't know where it's at. Like, you always put this in the same spot. Okay. Always record your training. You could always do a live training session where everybody comes in. And then there's right out today, as you're watching this video, I'm recording on Zoom. Tomorrow, it may be a different program. Don't get caught up in the program. Just get caught up in the outcome. It'll help you out faster. So I made a list. You're like, Scott, thank you for all of this. We really do appreciate that you finally got to the point of teaching us of how we can work this together. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm truly hoping that you're taking notes and you're saying, here's some things that I could do to make some deals happen. Okay. I truly believe that you should be taking notes to make this happen. So here's some options for the marketing team. Here's things that they could do in alphabetical order. So if you're like, which one do I pick? I don't know your company. I don't know what you're doing. Pick the one that's going to give you the most amount of lift, yield, or revenue with the least amount of risk or money. Buy online leads and do a text blast. Okay. You could run a contest through social media. It takes a little bit longer to do something like this, but social media contests can work very well. Hey, share with somebody, the system that we replaced for you. Show us the lowest energy bill. Like, just know that when you do contests online, the trolls come out. It's part of the game, right? You're like, hey, Scott, I did an online test or an online contest and the trolls came out. Yep. Did you get leads? I did, but I had to deal with trolls. Like, it's a byproduct. Deal with it. You can email your lists, specials, add-ons, systems, referrals. Like, if you have an email list, you could go to the market and ask for help. You can get an endorser to help you message. Who in your town does everybody love? Who would be willing to do endorsements for you? And you could pay them on results. You could pay them on deals made. Can you enhance a special that you already have for 24 hours only, for 72 hours only, for 1 week only? I have an enhanced special. And the marketing team, their job is to create content based around this. You could do a mail swap. You're a heating and air company, but you don't do plumbing. You could swap email lists with a plumbing company that's willing to work with you. And you go, hey, but their list is bigger than mine. Let me help you out. A mail swap is this. I've got 10,000 people that I can email. They've got 30. I would say, you mail once, I'll mail your offer 3 times, right? That's deal making. That's deal making 101. You could create a new special. Specials are pretty much straightforward. It's money off, percentage off. It's going to be a bonus item. It's going to be something, a unique way to sell it, though. You could go to old lists, and old lists are people you previously met but didn't buy. You could partner with other companies or vendors and do a co-op, and you could go to social networks. Like, the marketing team really should have this played out. As a marketing team, they should have this as a generic list to begin with. And if they don't, welcome. You have the list now for the marketing team. The call center. Based upon who's closing deals, you could change scripts. You could do contests with spiffs. You could do indoor air quality, ductwork. You could do add-ons. You can let people know when they're on the phone and pre-program that there's specials, right? You're not going to push hard. You're gonna say, hey, there's a special, your technician, your plumber, your roofer is gonna go over with you. You can ask the team who's got a better idea. They're on the phones all day long. They're interacting and dealing with people. You could go back and try to sell jobs for previous repairs based upon age. You can go back and try to sell jobs based upon repairs, based upon amount. Or you could go based upon spiffs, right? Like you could say, hey, if you get this deal, I'll give you some money. Your call center should be a revenue center year round. Your sales lead coordinators, right? So here's the thing. I tested this a ton. If you call somebody and say, hey, we had a cancellation, it's not nearly as powerful as saying somebody reschedule. Somebody reschedule. Here's what we're willing to do for you. Right? I know that you're on the schedule for Wednesday for us to come out and give you an estimate on your heating and air unit. Somebody reschedule. We'll give you an extra $250 off to do it today. Right? You want today. Every day that you miss doing construction, doing in-home services is revenue that you're probably not going to get back. You can go back on past credit rejects and run a special for them. Now, I'm not an attorney. Check your local laws. Make sure that you're doing everything legally. Focus on today leads when possible. Follow up on QNS, quoted, not sold. Quoted, not sold. You know, sometimes when you take a look at how often salespeople don't follow up, and the fortune is in the follow-up, you can close a bunch of deals from quoted, not sold. You can go to lost deals from other products and services. Well, you know, we went out there and offered you a capacitor. We went out there and we talked to you about putting some flashing on your roof. You know, we went out there and talked to you about making some curbs around your concrete, whatever industry you're in. Call them up and tell them you're running a special. Put out an email. We're running a special. The thing is you need to get some momentum. Always be willing to move up leads. Always be willing. And then outbound on high repair bills. Like, okay, I'm going to let you in on a super huge secret. 2016, 2018, they were both slow years in the heating and air world here in Sacramento. So I devised this plan that we would do this thing called parts buyback or repair buyback. And parts buyback and repair buyback was staged by the amount of the product that somebody was going to buy. Like if there's a good, better, best scenario for equipment, good got back like 50% of the repairs, better got back 70% of the repairs, and best got back 100% of the repairs. Or it was a set amount. But crews were busy year round, and the other companies were like, what are you guys doing? How are you staying busy? And nobody said anything because they knew that if they gave up the golden goose, everybody else would be doing it. And then here's the thing. Every time that you meet with a buyer, you should really be tagging what their objections were. And every once in a while, you come across a buyer that doesn't really necessarily want to buy today, but they want this crazy discount. They want this crazy deal. And sometimes it doesn't make sense to give them that crazy deal when everybody's busy. So you keep a super discount list. And it's really easy to do, right? You tag it in your CRM and you say super discount list. And then what you do is you call up that person when you were super slow and you say, okay, you wanted a deal. Here's what the deal is. And you go out and you make something happen when you need it. Okay. Super discount list. For your techs, plumbers, electricians, whoever's out in the field, do cross turnovers. Hey, I've got techs that are out there setting plumbing leads. I got plumbers out there setting tech leads. Go to doing some competitions. You could put on some crazy competitions. Where legal, you can give gift cards with purchase. It's free money for people, right? They're like, hey, it's a gift card. I'll take it. You could give gift cards for referrals. I don't know where you're at. Check your local laws. You can have a new idea contest or best idea contest. You can have this in any department, and realistically, you should be doing it every month. You could do pre-programming. We have specials going on right now. But here's the thing. You're not kicking down the door and saying we got specials going on. You're doing it about 45 minutes into the call. And it's like a quick blurb. It's like a little short infomercial. I don't know if you know this or not. We got some crazy specials going on right now. Stop talking. Right? You don't have to say a lot to set a lead. Sometimes you could say less in set of leads. You could do ride-alongs. Like if it's slow and there's not a lot of leads for the technicians or the plumbers, then you could double them up, do some cross-training. You can set spiffs or award money, and you could do training with test out. Training with test out is this. I come in, train the company, and then the techs come in and they role play. And of 100 things that they got to go through or 10 things they got to go through, they do a quiz and they're tested out on 10 of them. Then you know that they know what to say, they know what to do, and they're not guessing anymore. Owners and managers, you're like, Scott, what about the owners and managers? I'm like, hey, I'm glad you asked. You can authorize discounts, parts buybacks, turnovers, or tech set leads, depending upon where you're at. A TO is a turnover, a tech set lead is a TSL. You could be staged by a package back up to, right? Up to discount. So a staged by package means you have your gold, silver, bronze, and staged means that you can get $500 on parts buyback or 750 on a silver or $1,000 on a gold. You can auto role play with comfort advisors, techs, plumbers that don't sell. You don't, if you're not selling, you're coming in on auto role play, meaning that you didn't sell anything yesterday, come in and roll. And like, it's tough sometimes because it's like, it's a bad thing. No, it's meant to get you quicker, faster. So in the world of sales, this is the worst. If I go out and I don't sell today, then tomorrow it makes it a little bit rougher. Now, I don't sell tomorrow, it makes it even more rougher. If I don't sell after that, it makes it even more rougher. If I don't sell after that, it becomes like, what's wrong with me? Why am I broken? How come nobody likes me? And everybody hates my dog. So if you could get people into turnover training faster when they're not selling, it's not meant to be a detriment. It's not meant to be like you got to do push-ups. It's meant to be like get you on speed, get you up to speed on what's going on. And you have to explain it that way to the technicians and the salespeople. This isn't punishment. Like, leads are expensive. They're $400 to $1,200 each. What we're doing is making sure that you're on the right path, that you're not developing bad habits so that 3 months later, we're not letting you go. It's a safety net. It has to be explained as a safety net. And then last of all, TOC. TOC. If your sales team is struggling, if your technicians are struggling, if your plumbers are struggling, you should be really looking at TOC. TOC is time on calls. Now, depending upon where you live, this metric may be a little bit different, but when I managed a sales team, I knew that if my sales rep was in the house for less than 80 minutes, they had about a 20% chance of selling. If they were in the house for 90 minutes, they had about a 35% chance of selling. It was like 10 minutes. It was 10 minutes. It was something about how fast they were going through that call. Okay. Now, time on call goes both ways. There's bookends. Time on call can be too short. Time on call can be too long. Now, I was doing in-home sales. If I was in a home for more than 2.5 hours, I was going to get a complaint or I was going to get a cancellation. I was either going to say something dumb or silly, or the people are going to be like, hey, please get out of here. I'll sign the contract, but you got to go. Salespeople. With your sales team, here's what you do. You do an add-on sale. You could do this in-house if you got an installation company or a plumbing company, or you could team up with another company and split the cost of marketing. Right? That's a true joint venture. You could do daily specials based upon today only. Send out an email, print it on paper. Here's today's only special, right? Based upon the day. Buy this system, get this upgrade. Buy this system, get this add-on. You could do follow-up calls. And I remember that I used to work with my little brother, and we would follow-up call for each other. Hey, it's Scott. Brian was out there. How'd it go? Oh, Brian, he was a lot of fun. Well, did you buy anything? Yeah. Well, why? Well, Brian didn't look at the ductwork. And I make a note, Brian, you didn't look at your ductwork, man. What's going on? Oh, forgot. We got caught up in conversation. He'd call my calls. Scott was out there. Scott was amazing. Scott was fun, but he said something that probably offended us. Hey, and you come to me like, hey, Scott, you can't say things that offend people, okay? So just know that if you get follow-up phone calls going, you can close some deals. Text message, email, send a video. You may not know this, okay? I've got an iPhone right here. If you can send an iPhone video to another iPhone that's about 3 minutes long, and you know that somebody's watched it, and you can personalize it. Hey, Bob Smith, Scott Bell here. Haven't talked to you. I know I came out and talked to you about that 95 SEER air conditioner with that 180 AFUE furnace, 180% AFUE furnace, like way better than any technology has on the planet. You should probably give me a call, and then give them my number. Like, why would you not do that? You can get referrals from past and clients. You can go to clients and say, hey, we're looking for referrals. Like, we helped you out. Would you mind sharing somebody like who would benefit from our service? Maybe a neighbor, maybe a family member, maybe somebody on the baseball team. You can knock on doors where installs are going on, right? If I'm installing at your house, I'm going to go knock on the doors and say, hey, first thing in the morning, I got my crew over here. My crew's going to be working on the Smith house. If anything happens, here's my direct phone number you can call. And if you need a new heater, if you need a new roof, if you need new plumbing, you need a water heater, why don't you give me a call? Here's my card. I'll give you a special. Okay. One-off specials are take it or leave it offers. Right? I'm going to give you the most down and dirty offer that I can give you today. Here's my down and dirty offer. I'm giving you X amount of dollars off. Review drive. You can go for testimonials. You can ask people for testimonials. They could be used in advertising. And then right along with techs and plumbers, you could go do ride-alongs. right? Like you're looking for like to lift up every single rock that you can to find a lead. And then on this list, you got joint ventures, revenue share. You can buy non-sold leads from your competitors and split the profits. It could have been the person, it could have been the team. And sometimes people go, why would I do that? Like, well, you're not doing anything with it anyway. Let me try. Let me get up to bat. You could do a lead swap. Lead swaps is this. Your list is 10,000, my list is 10,000. You do plumbing, I do heating and air. Let me email your list, you email mine. That's a lead swap. You could get a marketing investor and split profits. There are people out there that'll say, I will front you the money for marketing and you will give me part of the profits or part of the proceeds. And depending upon what the VIG is and what the amount is, sometimes you might not make any profit at all, but you'll keep your crews busy. And then you can look for other industries and services that are not offered by you, but they are adjacent. Like you're in a house, so like who touches a house? A plumber, electrician, a roofer, a landscaper, a security camera guy, an alarm guy, a pool sweep, a concrete person, a fence person, an insulation person, a fan person. Like you want to look for adjacent places that people are touching a property. And then last of all on this list, you can buy companies. As mentioned, adjacent companies, people who touch the house too, competitors. You know, there is a point in everybody's business life where they're like, I'm done. And if you catch them on the right day, they're like, have my company, right? You've instantly added to your bottom line and you got a bigger list. And you could purchase similar companies. So the group is here for you for training and coaching, executive interactions, employee skills. And here's the thing. What you need to know is we want to help you. We want you to be better at what you do. And at the end of the day, it is all about speed and implementation. But remember, you want to get the highest yield for the lowest risk, right? Highest yield could be the most amount of money, the most amount of services, the most amount of work for the least amount of risk. And risk could be exposure, risk could be money. I just want to let you know that I appreciate you and thank you for checking out this training. We will see you soon.